Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story.
We always seem to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of a story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
Happy the man whose wish and care a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe in native air in his own ground, whose herds with milk, whose fields with bread, whose flocks supply him with attire, whose trees in summer yield him shade, in winter fire.
He who seeks of only vanity and no love for humanity shall fade away, fade away. He who checks for only wealth and not for his physical health shall fade away, fade away. Though some believe in diamonds and pearl and feel like they're on top of the world, they shall fade away. Hear what I say? The rich is getting richer every day, and the little that the poor man got, it shall be taken away. Do you hear what I say? Yeah, hear what I say. The man who worships silver and gold shall surely, surely, surely lose his own soul, then fade away. One who's always acting smart and don't carry no love in his heart shall fade away. God is here and there and everywhere, and he knows when you play the game unfair. So people beware, or else you fade away. Hey, beware, or then you fade away. You gotta fade, gotta fade, gotta fade now. The rich is getting richer every day, and the little that the poor man got, it shall be taken away. Do you hear what what I say. Hey, hear what I say. One who's always acting smart and forgetting to carry love in his heart shall fade away. God is here and there and everywhere, and his eyes are watching you. You gon' fade away, yeah, you gon' fade away, fade away, yeah. Brother, what you done? Can't you see you're gonna fade away now? Fade in the morning, fade in the evening. Surely you're gonna fade. Yeah, you're gonna fade every day now.
Blessed who can unconcernedly find hours, days, and years slide soft away, in health of body, peace of mind, quiet by day, sound sleep by night, study and ease, together mixed, sweet recreation, and innocence, which most does please with meditation. Thus let me live unseen, unknown, thus unlamented, let me die, steal from the world, and not a stone tell where I lie.
He who seeks of only vanity and no love for humanity shall fade away, fade away. He who checks for only wealth and not for his physical health shall fade away, fade away. Though some believe in diamonds and pearl and feel like they're on top of the world, they shall fade away. Hear what I say? The rich is getting richer every day, and the little that the poor man got, it shall be taken away. Do you hear what I say? Yeah, hear what I say? The man who worships silver and gold shall surely, surely, surely lose his own soul, then fade away. One who's always acting smart and don't carry no love in his heart shall fade away. God is here and there and everywhere, and he knows when you play the game unfair. So people beware, or else you fade away. Hey, beware, or then you fade away. You gotta fade, gotta fade, gotta fade now. The rich is getting richer every day.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Learn to budget. Once you've read a few personal finance books, you will understand two rules. Never let your expenses exceed your income, and watch where your money goes. The best way to do this is by budgeting and creating a personal spending plan to track the money coming in and going out. Tracking expenses can provide a valuable wake-up call. Small changes in your everyday expenses are under your control and can impact your financial situation. Keeping monthly expenses like rent as low as possible can save you money over time and put you in a position to invest in your own home sooner than later.
Yeah, yeah. Brother, what you done? Can't you see you're gonna fade away now? Fade in the morning, fade in the evening. Surely you're gonna fade.
It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 29th day of the first month of 2024. And we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Here in Jamaica, Earthquake Awareness Month and Soup Month activities are drawing to a close. Customs Week activities at an end. It's Martyrs Memorial Day in Nepal. In the United States, Human Trafficking Awareness Month and Mentorship Month activities are winding down. Hoy es lunes, el 29 de enero 2024. Y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa, Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est lundi le 29 janvier 2024 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutent, que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Monday, the 29th of January, 2024, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
And not for his physical health shall fade away, fade away. Though some believe in diamonds and pearl and feel like they're on top of the world, they shall fade away. Hear what I say? The rich is getting richer every day, and the little that the poor man got, it shall be taken away. Do you hear what I say? Yeah, hear what I say. The man who worships silver and gold shall surely, surely, surely lose his own soul, then fade away. One who's always acting smart and don't carry no love.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We acknowledge those who have dialed a number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. If you're in the US and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 631-359-8281. 631-359-8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330-606-0953. 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVANMALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook account, no sweat, there's always YouTube. All you need is a smartphone, tablet, computer, laptop, desktop, any one of those. Then you need internet connection, but more importantly, internet connectivity. One sure way of testing for connectivity is by using a browser like Google Chrome, for example, and taking it from there. What's on your mind this afternoon? Looking forward to your usual participation. Coming up in a few minutes' time, it will be time to make way for Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. And that's coming up in just a few moments. And then, of course, we have our usual gems, and we also have some of the updates in terms of what's been happening in Jamaica and the world. Good afternoon to Neriga Smart Morgan 7. She says, greetings to you, Sir Malcolm, and listeners. Blessings to you all, and I'm here praying to the Almighty not to fade away, however, to stay focused, optimistic, and positive, and knowing that the best is yet to come. More strength to Junior Biles, the singer of Fade Away, says Neriga Smart Morgan 7. Inez Ayona Campbell is greeting us as well. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you on board. And we welcome you in a very special way. And, we didn't tell you how we started this afternoon. We started with a poem by Alexander Pope, Ode on Solitude. Ode, O-D-E, on Solitude by Alexander Pope. And we paired that with Junior Biles's Fade Away. That's the creative combination for this afternoon. Let's give you an update now on what's been happening. If you've been too busy to pay attention, let's see. The security guard charged for beating 14-year-old boy at bus stop. A 42-year-old security guard has been charged for assaulting a 14-year-old boy while the two were at a bus stop in Pembroke Hall, St. Andrew. The police say the teen was dragged along the roadway by the man, Dwayne Lamond, has been charged with assault occasioning bodily harm and malicious destruction of property. His court date is being arranged. The incident happened on the morning of January 25. It's reported that about 10:45 in the morning, a boy was standing at a bus stop when he was approached by Lamond, who collared him and started hitting him in the face, according to the police. The teen was allegedly then dragged along the roadway, causing bruises to his body and damage to his school uniform. The police were called and Lamond was arrested and charged. The boy was treated for his injuries at hospital. Investigations continue. Also, China protesting interrogations and deportations of its students at U.S. entry points. And the story is, the Chinese government has protested to the United States over the treatment of Chinese arriving to study in America, saying some have been interrogated for hours, had their electronic devices checked, and in some cases were forcibly deported from the country. Xie Feng, the Chinese ambassador in Washington, said dozens of Chinese have been denied entry every month for the past few months when returning to school from overseas travel or visiting relatives in China, according to a post on the Chinese embassy website. So just a couple of stories for you, in case you haven't been able to catch up on the news of the day. You can visit the Jamaica Cleaner website for the updates as they enter the news system of the Cleaner. In the meantime, let's go on with the program. Coming up in a matter of a minute or less, it will be time for today's edition of Land Solutions with a team member from the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company will join us in just a moment for this afternoon's edition of Land Solutions. In the meantime, we send you to a break right here on both sides of the story, Power 106.
Hey, beware, or then you fade away. You gotta fade now.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. I've been hearing about this constitutional reform thing. You know anything about it?
Yes, constitutional reform is a chance for us to Jamaicanize the constitution.
But how?
Enough things changed since 1962, and we've matured as a nation. So modernizing the constitution will reflect our current societal values.
Oh, a constitution for Jamaicans, approved by Jamaicans.
Are you ready for the journey? Join us on the road to Republic. Think independence, think Republic. A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
It continues to be all smiles at Wellington Dental. We offer dental care for the entire family, including cleaning, filling, whitening, and other dental services. There's wheelchair access and an exciting play area for the children. Wellington Dental, 57 Wellington Street, Spanish Town. Telephone 876-984-5482 or 876-749-3515. Rise and shine on.
Get ready for stories to motivate and inspire. Every Sunday at 4 p.m., Power 106 FM is delighted to bring you the program Rise and Shine with Phyllis, hosted by author and ordained minister of New Thought Christianity, Reverend Dr. Phyllis Green. Hear the tales of powerful Jamaicans at home and abroad from all walks of life who have risen above the odds to achieve great feats and to shine their light for the world to see. Get ready to be stimulated by inspiring conversations, meditation, and music. Get ready to rise and shine with Phyllis with Reverend Dr. Phyllis Green. Sundays, 4 to 5 p.m. live on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
Rise and shine. Clear your mind. Oh. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Oh.
It is a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and that means time for Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions. Let's see, 881-5254. 876-881-5254. That's the text line, same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions. The website is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. And all are encouraged to call ahead before turning up. Those numbers to call: 876-908-1950. That's 876-908-1950. We'll remind you of the other number in a little while. And they also have added services on a Thursday. You can make your appointment on a Thursday between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. But a lawyer is always on duty anyway, but particularly on a Thursday between 10 and 1, there's a little more room to take on the issues to do with land matters here in Jamaica. So we look forward to your taking advantage of those opportunities to have your land-related matters dealt with. But you don't have to wait until then. You can start right now as we say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to your host on today's edition of Land Solutions, Attorney at Law, Calicia Findlay.
Thank you, Dervan. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, listeners. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to Land Solutions. And just following up on what Dervan said, a reminder that our numbers to call in office 876-908-1950, 876-908-3518, and the number for Oceanville's office 876-974-6083. The text and WhatsApp line for today 876-881-5254, and I'll get right into the messages that are already rolling in. But as always, feel free to call in with any questions you may have. Someone from the UK wants to know if relatives can witness a will. So can your relatives witness your will? Yes, they can. Anybody over 18 can witness a will, whether they are related to you or not. The only prohibition is with respect to whether they are beneficiaries or spouses of the beneficiaries. So, if someone is a beneficiary in your will, meaning they're getting something, you're willing something to them, you're leaving something to them in the will, you're bequeathing something to them, if they are a beneficiary, they cannot witness the will. If they are a spouse of a beneficiary, they cannot witness the will. Outside of that, anybody can witness a will. So let's just say I am making my will and I'm leaving something in it to Dervan. Because Dervan is getting something out of the will, he can't witness it. Neither can Dervan's wife. So again, relatives can witness your will. In fact, anybody can, as long as they're not getting anything out of the will, and as long as they're not getting anything out of the will, and that their spouses. So, beneficiary can't witness, spouse of a beneficiary can't witness. Over to WhatsApp. The husband made a will leaving an unfinished house to his son. He knew of the will and came in and did a little work on a room and had someone there. He is now verbally abusive to us. Can we get him out? And what's the procedure to do this? All right, see, so your husband made a will, his son knew of it, and now he has started working on the property. You're asking if we can get him out. I'm going to assume that your husband is still alive. If that is the case, do a notice to quit, serve it on him. After it expires, go to court to get him out. You may have an issue, however, though, if because so far you've allowed him there, he has spent money on the property, fixing up his section, his room, I think you said. He may have a case against you. If it is that you really want him out, he can turn around and sue you for money that he has spent fixing up this room. And so be it. If you have to pay him for it, then so be it. But if you really want him out, go ahead and do a notice to quit. I don't know if your husband would have changed his mind as to whether he still wants to win it to him. But if that's the case, if he has changed his mind, let him redo his will and perhaps take him out. So please act quickly. And just for listeners, a will comes into effect after death. So what we see happening is that father wills property to son. Father is very much still alive. But because son knows he's getting something from the will, he comes up and takes possession, starts making improvements, starts making plans for the property. The property does not become yours until 1, after the person has died, and 2, after the will has been probated, and 3, the estate settled at the stamp office. So it's a process. So don't think that because a will is made and it's sitting there, it's yours. Because remember, if someone makes a will today, willing it to their son, tomorrow they can change their mind and sell it or will it to someone else. So please be very careful. Again, our numbers to call in live on air, 876-922-411-325, and the text and WhatsApp number, 876-881-5254. You may also email me at gloria@landsolutions.com. or send me a message on Facebook. That's facebook.com/land solutions. If I was buying a property by mortgage and I've changed to cash or vice versa, are there any penalties? All right. So usually, if it's a cash sale agreement, it's usually a shorter period than a mortgage. The standard time for a cash transaction is between 30 and 60 days. If you're buying by mortgage, the sale agreement is usually between 90 and 120 days. If in the beginning you said you were getting a mortgage and now you have changed to cash, there shouldn't be any penalties because the cash transactions are processed much faster than mortgage transactions. So if at first you told the vendor I needed 120 days to finish, now you only need 30 days, I'm sure 9 out of 10 vendors will be extremely happy for that. So once you show that the funds are available, you pay them over, or your attorney sends an undertaking, you shouldn't have any penalties. If it's the other way around, if you first were doing cash and now you are switching to mortgage, that may be an issue. Why? Because as I said before, mortgage transactions take a longer time than cash transactions. So if initially you were contemplating, let's say 60 days in a sale agreement, and now you're switching to mortgage, thinking of 120 days, and it could even take longer than that because you may not have realized or issues may have come up after the transaction started. So you're really going to need at least 120 days from when you decided to switch over from cash to mortgage. And if that's the case, it's going to take a longer time to be completed. And one, the vendor can cancel or they can charge you interest. They can cancel because you would not now be able to complete or to satisfy the initial completion date. So you can cancel, they can cancel. You face the possibility of losing your deposit, which is 10% of the sale price. Or if they decide not to cancel, they can charge you interest on the balance. And that interest can be quite significant. Usually it's between 6 and 8% for Jamaican dollar transactions per annum. So let's just say you're buying something for 20 million, you pay the deposit, let's say your balance, roughly speaking, is $17 million. You can be charged 6% interest on $17 million. So that quickly adds up. What I would say, though, to avoid this, I mean, we know life happens. Things can change. But as much as possible, do your due diligence when buying property. Assess your finances. Are you able to go cash? Do you have the funds available? If so, set them aside. Like I said, I know life happens, but don't enter a sale agreement unless you're certain. If you are going by mortgage, get your pre-approval. I remember in the past, some persons would sign a sale agreement, pay the deposit, and only after doing that would they then approach mortgage companies. And sometimes they would do that and they would turn them down for mortgages. Nowadays, the process is more stringent. Many attorneys and many realtors aren't even entertaining purchasers unless they have their pre-approval. So go to your loan company or your prospective loan company, get a pre-approval. That will tell you how much you're qualified for and what your monthly payment will be. So you know exactly what you can afford. There's an extent you're looking on a $15 million house when your bank says they're not lending you more than $5 million. So please do your due diligence, be careful. I don't even have to say it, but I am going to go ahead and say it. Don't enter any land transactions without the services of an attorney. This is what causes problems. And then also you're going to say, no, your attorneys are too expensive. The grand scheme of things and what could happen down the road, we really aren't. So please be very careful. This is Land Solution.
You're listening to Pearl 106 FM. The time is now
2:45. Walk into Marjan's Pharmacy and feel better. The service is clearly different. They offer pregnancy, blood sugar and blood pressure tests, over-the-counter and prescription drugs. They accept all major health, debit and credit cards with discounts on all cash prescriptions. Call Marjan's Pharmacy 876-703-6335.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Whatever it has to do with whether the sale or purchase of land, you have come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call. 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions. It's 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. The website is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. All are invited to call ahead before turning up at the law firm Brown, Findley and Company. The numbers to call 908-1950 or 908-3518. That's 908-1950 or 908-3518. And on a Thursday, you can make an appointment to access the services in helping you to resolve whatever matters you have to do with the sale or purchase of land. So that's a Thursday between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. So in the meantime, let's get back to today's edition of Land Solutions, and let's hand you over once again to attorney at law, Calicia Findley.
Thank you, Dervan. Continuing with our messages, let me go over to our text messages. What is an estate TRN and whose responsibility is it to get one? An estate, so we know what the regular or the individual TRN is. It's a number that we all have to get. For taxpayer purposes, identification purposes, what have you. And we get that from the tax office. The estate TRN is a similar number that an estate has to obtain after probate or administration has been granted. And it matters not whether the person already had a TRN while they were alive. The estate TRN is a whole deed number assigned to the estate. And that's simply just what the rules say, so we have to comply with it. Whose responsibility is it to get the estate TRN? It's the executors or the administrators' responsibility. So if probate has been granted to John and Mary, then John and Mary ought to make the application at any tax office for the estate TRN. And to make that application, they simply produce the grant of probate or administration, and the death certificates. I think sometimes too they may ask for the will. So grant of probate with the will, the death certificate, or the letters of administration and the death certificate. Of course, the letters of administration if no will was made. It's similar to the individual TRN. There is no cost attached to it, and you get it right away. when there are payments being made to an estate, nowadays we have to make those payments. So let us say a property was sold. We have to make those payments to the estate TRN. So the estate TRN, once that has been granted, the executors use that along with the probate or the administration to open a bank account. And in fact, many corporations, let us say the estate has money coming into it, they will not disperse to the executors. They will say that the executors must obtain an estate TRN and set up a bank account in the name of the estate, and only then will they disperse. Someone wants to know if a will is valid if it doesn't name an executor. So is a will valid if it does not name an executor? Yes, it is. So the executor is the person who you leave in charge of your estate. It is the person who is to carry out your wishes. Sometimes, for whatever reason, I suppose maybe oversight or they just choose not to. I've seen wills where persons don't name an executor. So usually in a will, we will say, I appoint John and Mary to be the executors of my will and to carry out my wishes, etc. Some persons skip that part entirely and they just say, this is the last will and testament of me, John, and I will all my property to Mary, sign it, have it witnessed by two parties, and that's it. And that's still valid. So if there's no executor, the will can still be dealt with or the wishes can be carried out. In a case where no executor is named, the beneficiary can make the application for the grant. So yes, a will is valid if there's no executor. While I'm on this subject, a will is also valid if it is not dated. We just have to produce additional documentation to say that we have searched for other wills and there's none. So this will, the undated will, should be accepted to probate. So a will is valid if it's not dated. It's valid if there are no executors. It is, however, not valid if there are no witnesses. So always need at least 2 witnesses over the age of 18. Let me jump over to Facebook, and that's facebook.com/land solutions. And this is from Harry, a regular listener. Thanks, Harry, for always tuning in. My grandmother died in 2000, and since then her tenants stopped paying rent. I've served them with a notice a couple times, but they're still there. Can they claim adverse possession? They probably can. So those of you who listen to us regularly would know that if someone is in your property or on land for at least 12 years, I think Harry said from 2000, for at least 12 years, undisturbed, they can claim the property. So your question is, well, he says that he has been serving them notices. Doesn't that disturb their possession? Actually, no. The courts say that serving a notice on a squatter, a tenant, whoever, serving a notice isn't enough to break up their time or to end their time so they can't claim adverse possession. You have to go one step further. So after you have served the notice, once it expires, you then have to take the matter to court and obtain a court order. And only once you obtain the court order does that stop their time, so they can't claim adverse possession. But even after you get the court order, you still have to take steps to have them physically removed. So they have to go back to court with the order and get an order for the bailiff to physically remove it, because even though the courts say that once you get a court order, it stops their time, you can't just sit with a court order and do nothing. Because let us say you got a court order in 2000 and it's now 2024 and you're deciding to try and enforce the court order. You're going to be out of time. Because yes, he got the court order, but he did nothing. And they've been there for 24 years from the date of the court order. So you have to keep actively following them up. Notice to quit by itself isn't enough. Do the notice, get the court order, and enforce the court order to have them vacate your property. Harry, if you could send me a follow-up message, you said that you have been serving them notices over time. What else have you done? Because there could be other acts that could possibly qualify as disturbing their possession. Because I know there have been instances where persons have tried to get people off their property. And this is Jamaica, you know how we are. So the owners or the agents will go try to serve them with a notice, serve them with a court order, and then they're met with, dare I say, resistance or violence or threats. So they really can't enforce the eviction notice. So if it's a case like that, and you can prove to the court that, hey, I've been trying, have the proper documents, every time I go there, they threaten us, they shoot after us, whatever. I mean, it happens. If you can show that you have been you've tried to get them out, but you have been unable to, then perhaps you can show that their possession was not undisturbed. So send me a follow-up message and let me know what's happening in your case, Harry. Again, our numbers to call in live on air 876-922-41135. And the text and WhatsApp number 876-881-5254. My father absolutely refuses to make a will. What can I do? Oh boy. There may not be anything you can do. You can encourage him to speak to an attorney, but some persons are just reluctant or they refuse to make a will. They will say, I don't have anything, or if I die, you know what needs to be done. You know, we hear it all sorts of reasons. You know, try talking to him. Maybe get a trusted person to speak to him. You may also consider other estate planning options. How are his bank accounts? Is he willing to add someone to them? Is he willing to add someone to his title? What about if he becomes ill or incapacitated? Is he willing to do a power of attorney? You could explore those options. But I mean, at the end of the day, just as how someone has the freedom to put whatever they want in a will and to exclude anybody they want from their will, they also have that freedom to not make a will. You know, and as we stress it all the time, making a will is so important. It makes life, no pun intended, it makes everything so much easier. Everything is organized. Your beneficiaries know what's coming to them. At the end of the day, it is solely up to a person. You know, we can lead the horse to the water, but we can't force them to drink it. So if someone is, as you say, if someone is absolutely refusing to make a will, you may just have to leave it at that. There's so much we can do and no more. For those of you who wish to call our offices, that's the law offices of Brown, Finlay and Company. Our office numbers are 876-908-3518, 876-908-1950. That's the Winchester Road office in Halfway. And for our Ultra office, shop 6 upstairs JN, that number is 876-974-6083. Be reminded that we are at the Ultra office every last Thursday, but notwithstanding that, the office is open every day. There's an attorney on duty, but as always, please call us to schedule an appointment before you come in. This is Land Solution.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock.
Poor roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692, or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
You've been listening to, and you are listening to Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions, 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The website is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. We're all encouraged to call ahead before turning up at the law firm or the law offices of Brown, Findlay and Company. Those numbers, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. Let's go to a caller now, Calicia. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
There you
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon, how may I help?
Yes, Miss. You're talking a while ago about the court system. But
Yes.
that way, when if we agree to that, if them get an order and not carry it out, and we have got step on them. No, that cause war, you know. And
The thing is, when the court grants the order, right? So let us say the court, I take you to court, and the court grants me the order that says, yes, Mr. So-and-so should come off the property. It is really my responsibility to ensure that you are off the property and not the court. The court has already done their part.
But I couldn't get him off. That's not to go to court. And then now the court will leave everything back to me. So it's up when me have to get him off. It starts a war.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective, but yes, it's your responsibility. The court has done their part by hearing your case and granting the order that you went to them and asked for. That's the end of it with court. Now, as you have the order in your hand, it is your responsibility to follow it up. And again, I see where you're coming from, and some people think it's a little unfair. Because like I said before, when you get the order, you have to still go back and get a bailiff if they're not leaving. Because the order will say, yes, Mr. Brown needs to leave the property by February 29. Mr. Brown is still sitting there. February 29 comes and he's still there. You then even have to go back to court and get an order for the bailiff to physically remove him. So I see what you're saying, but listen, the court, the staff, the judges, they're not going to take up themselves and go and remove the person. It's sad to say, but it is your responsibility to enforce that order. All right? Again, our numbers to call in live on air, 876-922-411325. I occupy a piece of land left by my grandfather. There is a small house on it, which was built by a distant relative. The permission was given by my grandfather. The house has been in a derelict state for over 10 years now. I have taken steps to enclose the property by fencing it. I have not been able to contact any of the persons with whom my grandfather had this arrangement many years ago. Can they come forward now to claim possession? They can only claim possession if they have been there for at least 12 years undisturbed. So yes, they built a house. Never mind that it is now derelict. They built a house, let's say, more than 10 years ago. But since then, you're not sure what has happened. You haven't seen them in 12 years. Once you can prove that, then no, they cannot make a claim for possession. Possession, if you think about it, it refers to who is actually on the land, taking care of it. I think here you said that you have enclosed the property, you fenced it. So if you can show that you have been taking care of it, you fenced it, you have a physical connection with the land for over 12 years, then you may be able to make a claim for possession. I saw a message coming in that I want to get to. Can adverse possession be claimed when there is a will? Yes. Let me just delve into that because this is something that comes up quite frequently. So, John willed, and there are actually two angles to this. So, John willed property to Mary, let's say in 2000. Mary has the will. Mary has never taken steps to probate the will. She has never lived on the property, taken up possession. She's never done anything with the land. That was from 2000 when the will was made to her. Someone now has been actually living on the land, excuse me, and taking care of it, and they've been doing that for at least 12 years. Excuse me. That person, once they can prove that they have been there for 12 years undisturbed, notwithstanding that the property was willed to Mary, that person can claim the property by adverse possession. Many persons think that once there is a will, it automatically prevents anyone from claiming the land. So people are going to say, but no, I have my will. It was willed to me. Fine, that's all well and good. It was indeed willed to you. The will is valid. You could even obtain probate. But what have you done for the past 15, 20 years? So you have to exercise continuous ownership. You can't just get your title, get your will, get your probate, sit and don't do anything with the property. Another angle to this too is if property has been willed to you, let me use the same scenario. John willed property to Mary in 2000. Mary has not probated the will, but Mary has been living on the property from 2000, and everybody knows it's her property. She's been there undisturbed, and Mary is now ready to apply for the title. You see, because Mary has been there from 2000 undisturbed, regardless of the fact that there is a will, Mary can go ahead and actually make a direct claim for adverse possession. Because she has been there for so long, she doesn't have to go through that first step of probating the will. All she has to show is her acts of possession. So once you can show that you have been there for a long time, you can apply for adverse possession, even if it was willed to you. Continuing with our messages. What happens if a beneficiary also witnessed a will? If a beneficiary witnesses a will, it is voidable, meaning the will can be challenged and it can be deemed to be null and void. So as much as possible, don't have a beneficiary or a beneficiary's spouse witness your will. If it's a case where a beneficiary witnesses a will, the matter will have to be heard before a court for the judge to make a determination as to whether this will is valid. And if you think about it, it is not a good idea for a beneficiary or the beneficiary's spouse to witness a will, because it raises a presumption of maybe undue influence on the testator, and it certainly is a conflict of interest. You are getting something under the will, and yet you are also witnessing the will. That really should not be the case. And there may be persons who will say, well, I don't have anybody to witness a will. You can always find someone. Go to an attorney's office, go to a justice of the peace, go to a church, your employer, a co-worker. And remember, when persons are witnessing your will, I've known the first thing many of you are going to say is that you don't want people to say you don't want people in your business. They're not witnessing the actual content of your will. They're simply witnessing your signature. So they don't have to know what's in your will. Someone wants to know if they can see an attorney about a title transfer, adding someone to a title on a day other than a Thursday. Yes, you can. Just feel free to call us to schedule 876-908-1950. And does the property have to be formally given a value prior to adding someone to the title? Yes. It is best that you do a valuation, and you don't have to do a full valuation report. You can do a valuation letter, because that is a much cheaper option. And why? Legal fees, as well as the government duties, are based on the value of the land. Transfer tax is 2%. And one of the reasons why it's especially good to have a valuation, whether it's a full report or a letter or an opinion, is that when we're sending the transfer to the stamp office, it's good to attach that, because you don't want it to be a case where the stamp office says, no, this property is worth $15 million, when you know it's worth $10 million, because the more it's valued, the more duties you will have to pay. And what we find is that when we are sending the transfers down to the stamp office for assessment, once we send them with the valuation report or letters, it helps the process to go by much quicker. Once the stamp office knows it's a reputable valuer or appraisal company, they accept the value and give the assessment. So please do your evaluations. And also, it would be remiss of me not to say this. Many persons, I don't know why, but many persons, let's just say you bought land in 2015 for $5 million. Many persons, for some reason, still think that if they are doing a transaction on their title, let's say adding someone or giving it away, that the value is going to be the same as it was in 2015. Absolutely not. This is Jamaica. Real estate values only appreciate. They only go up. And in fact, I think it's estimated that property values increase. And if I'm wrong, someone can correct me. It is estimated that property values go up by about 15% each year. So say, how much is the property valued at? Let me work out an estimate for you. 10 million. Okay. You have a valuation for that? Yes. What's the date of your valuation? From 2005 when I bought the property. That is of no more use. Okay. So please do your valuations. In fact, valuations last about 1 year. This is Land Solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15. Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call Wednesday evenings at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness, your one-stop show to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-4112-5. You can also send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. Listen every Wednesday at 8 p.m. only on Power 106 FM.
It's the final segment of today's edition of Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions, 876-881-5254. 876-881-5254. The website is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. We're all encouraged to call ahead before turning up at the law firm of Brown, Findlay and Company at their respective law offices in the corporate area and also in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. Remember as well, special additional services as far as the sale and purchase of land are concerned. Those additional services on a Thursday. You can book your appointment on a Thursday between 10 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And so let's hand you over once again to your host on today's edition of Land Solutions, attorney at law, Calicia Findlay.
Thanks, Dervan. Follow up to something I was discussing before about after getting a court order, you then have to go back to the court to get a bailiff. This person says, "Good day. Why then not get both the order to move and the bailiff's order at the same time from the court instead of going back to the court to get a bailiff order?" I mean, because that's just how the rules are. First, you get an order for them to vacate because the laws presume that they will comply with the order. And the court also wants to give them time to comply. So you're never going to have a situation where you have an order to say leave by X date and the bailiff can ensure you leave by X date. No. The order is served, or the order specifies a time for them to leave. It is served. Nothing happens. Then you have to go back to get the bailiff. That's just how the law works. But I mean, I can understand where that question comes from because when scenarios like this arise, it costs the parties, the claimants or the plaintiff, to have to go back to court to pay their attorneys. That's additional time and legal fees. But that's what the law says. I have been paying NHG mortgage for a house for more than 15 years. I got married 4 years ago. My spouse moved in with me and my adult children from a previous relationship. My spouse agreed to use his benefits to do work on the second floor where we would live. The upstairs is still incomplete. We are still living downstairs. My spouse pays the mortgage for that loan while I continue to pay for the downstairs. We are in the process of a divorce. Does my spouse have any claim on the downstairs section? I accept the claims on the upstairs section, but I am concerned about my sons and I losing downstairs. Can I be forced by the court to sell the entire property to pay my spouse? Or would the ruling be confined to upstairs where the monies were spent? He says he is not leaving unless ordered by the court. This is a good question. And I'm going to assume that you added your husband's name to the title since he uses NHG benefits. Chances are the NHG wouldn't have given a loan on this property unless he was a co-owner. You're never going to have a situation where a court makes a final order to say one party can get a title for upstairs and one party can get a title for downstairs. Title goes for land. So if it's a 10-story house on the property, it really is one property. So what would end up happening is if it goes to court, you are correct, the court can make an order that the property be sold and then the proceeds be shared between the parties. I see where you say that you owned the property for more than 15 years before. That will actually work in your favor, because when a spouse can show that they have owned the property for a long time before it became their matrimonial home, it helps in your claim, so such that the other spouse will usually only be able to get the monies that they have spent on the property. I see where you said that he says he's not leaving unless ordered by the court. I don't know if there are any issues of threats or violence, but if that's the case, you can also get a protection order. And in a case like that, similar to what's referred to as a restraining order, the court can order that he not be in the property. I think you had a second part to your question. Let me just double check. He said, can I be forced by the court to sell the entire property? So yes, so one, the court can order the entire property be sold and the proceeds be split, or the court can also order one party to buy out the other party. So usually that's what will happen. You need to go to an attorney as soon as possible to have this resolved, because you may, if you're not able to come to an agreement, doesn't seem like you will, then you'd have no choice but to have a judge determine. That quite a lot of persons are concerned about the situation with the bailiff. Someone is asking if the bailiff has a right to tear down the grill and door and break into the house and dump all the contents of the house. Bailiffs do have the right to enter, but of course they have to enter in such a way where they don't destroy the property. So if they are going to, they would remove a lock or a door as best as possible to gain entry. And they work with locksmiths. They're not just going to dump the possessions or the belongings outside. That is actually illegal, because you don't want to be in a situation where the squatter or the tenant or whoever the person is that you're trying to get out can now turn around and sue you for destruction or damage to property. So bailiffs usually put the property in storage and find a way to bill it to someone, or the most common scenario is that the bailiffs put the possessions or the property up for sale. And then the proceeds of that sale are usually, let's say it's a landlord-tenant scenario, proceeds of sale are usually used to take care of the bailiff's fees and then to satisfy any sums outstanding to landlords. And more often than not, once it gets to the state where you have a bailiff come in, chances are whatever is owed to you is not, you're not going to recover that full amount from whatever possessions are in the property. But sometimes landlords or, other property owners, they're just so desperate to have vacant possession. I've had a client say, I just want the person out. Yes, she owes me all this money, I just want a peaceful life, and I just want the person out. Let me see if I can just squeeze in one or two more messages. Let me jump back over to Facebook. After a will has been probated, how long should the executor wait before paying out to the beneficiaries? There really is no set time. They should pay out as soon as possible. And in fact, the executors, it's an ongoing process. So while probate is ongoing, the executors should have, or they should make a record of all their expenses and all the income. So at any moment, they know what the assets and what the liabilities are of the estate. You don't want to be in a situation where probate has been granted and only now that you have received probate, you're looking to reconcile the accounts. You should always remember, being an executor is a great responsibility. So once probate is granted, you really should be in a position, in a matter of days, dare I say, to pay out proceeds to the beneficiaries. Well, I'm sorry, this was a two-part question. What should be done if you find a later will after a previous one has been probated? The will that's valid is the last one, the most recent one. So if you make a will in 2015, then you make another one in 2018, it's a 2018 will that's valid. If for whatever reason the 2015 will was probated, then the executors really ought to have an attorney get that probate cancelled and have an application be made for probate with the more recent will, the 2018 will. Sometimes, though, it is not as simple as that, because let us say the will was probated in 2015, and then a property was sold to John Brown, and it's a legitimate sale. John Brown was a bona fide purchaser. Because John Brown was a bona fide purchaser, he didn't know that there was a later will. There's nothing you can do to overturn that sale to John Brown. So he has his property there. He's out of the question, or he's out of the issue, I should say. So you may just have to examine the estate to see if there are any other assets, see if the executors still have the proceeds, see if they can be shared. So it's not always simple. So what I would urge persons, particularly testators, meaning persons who are making your will, if you have made a newer will, if you have updated your will, destroy the first one. See it happening all the time where someone finds a will and then they end up finding another will of someone. Destroy that one completely. Tear it up, cross it out, tear it up, throw it away so that there is no confusion. Also, ensure that somebody knows that you have made a will. Can't stress this enough. It doesn't make sense for you to have a nice detailed will and then it's hidden for all eternity. Let an attorney know. Leave a copy with someone, a trusted friend, a pastor. Please, it doesn't make sense that you have a will and nobody knows that there is a will. It saves us from so many issues, saves the beneficiaries from having problems. A lot of times the issues that we have concerning dead left, because yes, of course, persons are greedy, but sometimes there's just uncertainty surrounding estate. So please, it's one thing to make your will, it's another thing to let someone know that you have indeed made a will. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's edition of Land Solutions. I'm Calicia Finley, I was your host for today. And feel free to call us in office, 876-908-1950. And thanks as always to Dervan and the entire team of Power 106. Take care, everyone.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs-controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30.
He who seeks of only vanity and no love for humanity shall fade away, fade away. He who checks for only wealth and not for his physical health.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us via WhatsApp, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Looking at quite a number of WhatsApp messages right now, and we'll do our best to get through them. We see Franklin McDonald has shared with us the Ocean Cleanup logo t-shirt. And this has to do with the Ocean Cleanup store, from that store. And he also sends us an attachment featuring Shamar Joseph and his remarkable performance as far as West Indies cricket is concerned. So we don't have to ask what's on Franklin McDonald's mind, because he's making it quite clear, sharing information with us on two fronts. And we appreciate it, Mr. McDonald. Thank you very much. We definitely enjoyed the replays and replayed the replays over and over and over again, featuring Shamar Joseph, born on the 31st of August, 1999, Guyanese cricketer who plays for Guyana in first-class cricket and for the West Indies in international cricket. He is a right-arm fast bowler. He made his international debut for the West Indies cricket team in January 2024 against Australia at the Adelaide Oval, where he took Steve Smith's wicket with his first ball in Test cricket. Now, isn't that something? Going on to take 5 wickets, 5 for 94, the best Test debut for any West Indian bowler in Australia. And prior to his professional cricket career, he worked, as many people know by now, Shamar Joseph worked as a security guard. So from security guard to world-beating cricketer. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Thank you for the additional information, Franklin McDonald. Thank you. And we wish Shamar Joseph all the success that life has to offer. We wish him well. All right, let's go to another of the messages now. The Ward Post, that's Jamaica's former ambassador to the United Nations, Ambassador Curtis Ward. He is the author of The Ward Post, or TWP for short, and his focus this week is on corruption The Thief in the Night. That's his current topic. You can Google that, the Ward Post, and check out his latest column. Let's see what Horace, otherwise known as Spider, has to say. He says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Congratulations to the West Indies cricket team for beating Australia in the second test match. Awesome. By the way, anyone see Oral Tracy from Sunday? I think someone should go check on him and make sure he doesn't have any." Well, we still have to be sensitive. So I'll jump over that road there, that word, because based on what he was saying, he said we should pray for rain to help the West Indies. So can someone find out if he is still with us? Uh-oh. Well, we hope for his sake he still is. And thanks for your message, Horace, otherwise known as Spider. The listener who goes by the moniker Waymaker says, if a person enters a marriage with a child, does that child have the same claim to estate as a child born in wedlock? The children share only one parent. I think perhaps you need the assistance of, who is this now? Maybe, yeah, well, we'll send it, we'll forward it to attorney at law, well, one of our attorneys at law from Land Solutions. They know these matters as well. So we'll see if, all right, let's forward it to Gloria Brown and hear what she says. Rohan Johnson of Atlas Ocho Rios is tuned in as usual. He says, big up yourself, Sir Malcolm. Give thanks for life and also for another program. It's a pleasure and honor to clock in to your program on a Monday, coming from Rohan Johnson, Atlas Ocho Rios. All the best to you, Rohan Johnson of Atlas Ocho Rios. Ricardo is excited about the cricket as well. And he says Shamar Joseph can have a bright future, and congratulations to the West Indies. Keep those messages coming in, 876-922-4112-5, the numbers to call. The text line and the WhatsApp number are one and the same, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Sad news of a senior cop drowning in St. Anne. Sorry to hear that. Really sorry to hear that. And our condolences. There's another message coming in. Well, I think this is from the entrepreneur Nikki of Nikki's Spices, NIKKI''S. Don't know if she's trying to hint at an update or a new development by sharing a couple pictures of her other products. But we're happy and we remain committed to providing a platform, as we always say, to encourage entrepreneurship. And we're more than happy to assist in getting the word out there. So thank you very much for touching base, Nikki. All the best. And take care. And let's go to another message. Happy Monday to you too. Thank you for your message. In the meantime, let's continue. Jacqueline Simmons is greeting us. Good afternoon, Jacqueline Simmons. Thank you for joining us. Ricardo is sending shout outs to everybody all over the world, not least of all right here in Jamaica. Sure, those are appreciated. Mequitalk says, Jeffrey Tavares, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. So I would imagine the YouTube program here is Mequitalk, and the presenter is Jeffrey Tavares, and he's greeting us in a warm way by saying good afternoon. Well, good afternoon to you too. Natalie Winter says, hey, Dervan, watching from sunny weather, Washington Gardens, Kingston 20, Jamaica. Have a wonderful rest of the day, says Natalie Winter. Thank you very much for your message, Natalie Winter. And let's now get an update as we try to keep you abreast of trending stories, especially if yours is usually a busy day and not having time to stop and listen and check out the latest news. A couple of stories that have been added to the list. Ukraine says corrupt officials stole $40 million meant to buy arms for war with Russia. Employees from a Ukraine arms firm conspired with Defense Ministry officials to embezzle almost $40 million, earmarked to buy 100,000 mortar shells for the war with Russia. That's the report from Ukraine's security service. Closer to home, Jamaica-born British woman held with cocaine at airport to seek bail. Jamaica-born British woman who was charged in relation to cocaine discovered in powdered milk while attempting to board a flight for London was remanded for a bail application in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on March 6. Mitzi Graham, 53, a healthcare assistant, is charged with possession of cocaine, dealing in cocaine, and taking steps to export cocaine. According to the police, on January 17, about 5 p.m., the woman checked in at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston to board a flight destined for London. During security screening, 4.8 kilograms of cocaine were discovered concealed in 9 large packages of Lasco in her suitcase. The cocaine is estimated to have a street value of $144,000 US, which is the equivalent of 20,736,000 Jamaican dollars. And according to her attorney, Orville Morgan, his client was the one who informed police officers that she was bringing home the milk product for her friend Munchi, who reportedly asked her to collect them. Oh boy. This is why people shouldn't get upset when you politely let them know that you will not be able to carry this or that package or luggage, because you have to give an account for that which is in your possession, that which is in your stewardship. So we have to be mindful of these things. And some people might, in Jamaican parlance, get vexed with you or vexed with you because you don't want to carry this and you don't want. No, this is serious business. Serious business. And in terms of the other stories, Ocho Rios Transportation Center to get $7 million facelift. We shared the story of that security guard and the 14-year-old earlier on. Press Association of Jamaica wants law prohibiting public access to gun court repealed. There's a robbery at Jamaica Archives in Spanish Town. More in a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Cut back on recurring charges. Do you subscribe to services you never use? It's easy to forget about monthly subscriptions to streaming services and mobile apps that charge your bank account, even when you are not regularly using these services. Review your spending for charges like these and consider canceling unnecessary subscriptions to hold on to more money each month.
Brother, what you done? Can't you see you're gonna fade away now? Fade.
Just to share a few more of the trending stories, Goulding says PNP government will bring back international cricket to Jamaica. Company exploring oil and gas in Jamaica gets 2-year extension. Passenger arrested after gun found on bus in Spanish Town. JLP calls meeting with local government election candidates is another story. Murders dropped by 20%, tally now 65. 72 rounds of ammunition found in unfinished house in St. James. Those are some of the stories doing the rounds right now on the Gleaners website as we try our best to keep you abreast of developments in the news. In the meantime, feel free to air your thoughts, your suggestions, your questions, your concerns, your issues, your solutions, your problems. The lines are open. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us via WhatsApp, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Let's, for a moment, dip into the archives and see what we find. The year was 1954. The Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, as it was called back then, Civic Improvements Committee, decided to call on the Water Commission to stop the practice of disposing of sewage in the Kingston Harbor. Members feel it is important to keep the harbor clean and its surroundings beautiful, and believe if sewage is discharged in the harbor, it will soon become a cesspool. They also want government to enforce legislation governing the discharge of oil into the harbor. See how we used to treat the harbor? I mean, to some extent, there's been a level of abatement. But to think that people were just throwing things into the harbor, as opposed to what obtains now, still not perfect, still work to be done, not as bad as it used to be. Let's look at what happened in 1961, addressing members of the Westwood Old Girls Association at their annual dinner. Journalist Maurice Cargill wants girls attending girls' schools to be taught to be women and not hockey players. Teach them, he continues, to be elegant and beautiful and charming, and not to have horrible muscles. Above all, get rid of that terrible thing, the school tunic, and liberate your daughters from the enslavement of the Liberty Bodice and that unbeautiful garment, the Passion Killer. Cargill also says that women fighting for equality with men do not know what it is to be a woman. They just do not know that they can be man's master as well as his mistress. His main criticism of Jamaican schools, however, is their emphasis on examinations. The purpose of a liberal education is not to pass exams, but to fit young people for life. In a complex age, it is much more important to develop fine critical faculties and a good sense of values and an ability to distinguish the good from the bad and the ugly from the beautiful. Words of Maurice Cargill, published back in 1961, right here in Jamaica. And Jamaica is still fashionable when it comes on to movies and films. 1962, Ursula Andress, Swedish beauty, arrived in Jamaica to play the lead female role in the first James Bond spy movie, Dr. No. The movie was based on the book by the same name, written by Ian Fleming, a British author who wrote it at his home at Golden Eye near Orocabessa, St. Mary. She joined Sean Connery, who was playing the role of James Bond. Scenes for the movie were being shot at the Palisadoes International Airport, now known as Norman Manley International Airport. The Palisadoes International Airport was at Port Royal. And they were also doing filming in the Warwicker Hills to the east of Kingston. So the island is still quite fashionable, it seems, when it comes to films, as a location for films. So there you go. So that's it for the archives at this time, stories from the archives. Let's now continue with more of your issues, your questions, your suggestions, your thoughts, your ideas, your calls. The numbers 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Karen Rowe says, top of the day to you, Mr. Malcolm, and listeners. To you too, Karen Rowe. Good to hear from you. Thank you for joining us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And further to a call or a message we got earlier on, Attorney at Law Gloria Brown has responded. She needs the number for the listener. Let's see if we can find that quickly. Let's see if we can pick that out of this list of messages. Where is it now? Where is it? This was the one with the question that was asked in relation to the children. Hold on. I think it should be up top here. Let's see what we have. Right. So, okay. This one. So the number, do we have it? Let's see. All right, we'll come back to that because it will take a little searching through the other messages. So we'll move on for the time being. Another message. Good afternoon, teacher. It is overcast and cool at class here today. Cricket is good and I am celebrating with pride and fond memories. Mr. Joseph, keep going, young man, says this listener. Franklin McDonald says, Dervan, please note that the young fast bowler worked for several years as a woodcutter in the something is missing here. Worked for several years as a woodcutter in the Guyana or Guyanese jungle before becoming a security guard. Woodcutting is very good. I understand for developing the shoulder muscles, says Franklin McDonald. Thank you for sharing, and for the listener who messaged us earlier on. Sorry, we're not able to respond to your message just yet. We have to do a quick run through of a couple of the other messages. All right, let's go to the phone lines in the meantime. 876-922-4112-5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Mr. Michael.
Me there in a class, I listen, you know, man, because you are the world ambassador. Just I listen to the world ambassador, they teach in the class, man. Everything good.
We're giving thanks. We're giving thanks.
Yeah, man. Me glad to the work where you go on, man. But you want to go more if you check out, you know, the coffee, you know, because the coffee price not right, you know, man.
But remember, that is not determined by individuals. It's determined more in a more exacting way with the market and how the market arrives at a particular figure, demand and supply, based on the order of demand and supply. You end up arriving at a figure.
But Mr. Malcolm, go on, say it.
The individuals are not the ones who contribute to the price of coffee, of Blue Mountain coffee.
But something has to go on, Mr. Malcolm, because not less than 75% of the Blue Mountain coffee, they don't take a low payment, you know, man. Because when me hear the minister and Senator Mr. Norman Grant say the amount of coffee with them get Mr. Norman Grant them to get something like 300,000 bucks. That I should have 3 million bucks. And where the minister say like can get 500,000, that should have been 5 million if they never take the rescue the coffee and treat the farmers the way or whatever treat. And then I have no coffee, Mr. Malcolm.
There's no coffee. So how is the brand going to manage? People are just going to abandon that brand and move on to something else?
They're not taking care of the grassroots, man, them, man. The farmers, the small farmers, you know, cause all the rich man, them run out, you know, we the little grassroots, man, where we are the advantageous, man, cause even the last season when Mr. Charles was in things, Mr. Charles raised it from where they may have the load and cut up $1,000 and quick as Mr. Charlie's office in this crap here begin at $8,000 then cut down back to man. That I'm going to pay a man $4,000 for working at the field and working at the field and a man go out and pick coffee.
Hold a moment, please. One moment.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Join us every Sunday for Indian Talent on Parade with Dr. Winston Toland from 5 to 6 p.m. Listen and learn all you need to know about the Indian community, culture, and music. That's Indian Talent on Parade with Dr. Winston Toland, 5 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, right here on Power 106 FM and the Power 106 FM app.
God, it shall be taken away. Do you hear what I say?
Thank you very much for holding. Please continue.
Yes, man. You hear what me I tell you? Because when a box of coffee process, then get £8 out of it. If you even check in one of them supermarket, you can't get a pound of coffee to less than $5,000, or any one of the man who will process it, Mr. Malcolm, 5 years apart. So when I look for you and you 20% out of that, which is 8,000. But that carried on the coffee, because since 2000 come, is only two good ministers of agriculture come, and it's only Roger Clark and Pernell Charles Jr. The rest of them mess up the coffee business, man.
Well, somebody has to fix it in terms of leadership. Somebody has to lead in that regard.
And even since Mr. Norman Grant leave the judge and Cobra come, we don't get a judge. I don't know what happened to Mr. Fulton and the rest of man. Then now it's in a court matter. But after 5 years, we don't see nobody to talk to. I don't know what is happening. I not to have no stone from no side. Mr. Malcolm, thank you for hearing me, man, and you don't forget, you are one of the world's greatest man. You come in like boat and say, Garfield showers to me with the work you do, sir. Have a good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Same to you. All the best.
The world's greatest man. You come in like boat and say, Garfield showers to me with the work you do, sir. Have a good afternoon, sir. Thank you.
This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world, taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. And the Observer is reminding us that the man who has stirred controversy among the Jamaican diaspora by calling for protest demonstrations in major world cities where Jamaicans live to dramatize issues like corruption, violence, and crime in their homeland has pledged to continue his mission. And there's a picture saying, next stop, New York. Protest leader undaunted by opposition from diaspora members fearing damage to Jamaica's image. And a couple of responses that have popped up. Brendan saying, typical dysfunctional behavior, pointing on a flat tire and telling everyone the tire is flat. Doesn't fix the tire. If it's such a big problem for him, why not come to Jamaica and help fix it at the source? By the way, don't lose the irony of people in USA talking about corruption in other places. And another message here says, the Bible says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And old people say, you catch more flies with honey instead of vinegar. At the end of the day, what does this kind of antagonism and confrontation achieve? What consensus can possibly come of it? And let's see. Let's see what if this is connected, is it? This one says, me see everyone a jump on this young man case and talking all kind of things, but he stand for something. Y'all living here and wait on politicians to save you. This man is forcing them to do something about is not hunger a cause. This is not hunger a cause, this irrespective of what politicians say. What do you achieve from these protests? The next diaspora protests should be against the guns from coming into Jamaica. I am sure the country that he decides to live in has some form of corruption going on. Why not protest against that? I bet they can't. Good, and tell them how we are work and have nowhere to live, cause the NHT stall them too expensive. Them too expensive and hard to meet the criteria. This one says, this is how you hit corrupt governments, one stone at a time. Let the pressure come from outside. Anyway, anyhow, I support the mission. Another one, tell him to dress warm, with 2 laughing emojis. This one says, I have never seen these guys leading protests against those members of the diaspora who are shipping illegal guns to Jamaica. Are these protests a political stunt? Another one says, wait till it reached New York. Raping and killing of children, raping of 90 and 100-year-old women. The salary increased by politicians and all the perks. The undemocratic tendencies of Jamaican politicians. Filthy health system. The abusive behavior of financial institutions. And another message, we as Jamaicans get so lazy and complacent that all when party do rubbish, no one want to protest. All we do put party first and not Jamaica. But me kind of understand why protest really lost its value because of unscrupulous people. And this one says, Uno go and sit down in one of the most corrupt countries and wipe uno mouth can against Jamaica while doing nothing to stop the inflow of guns into our island. We are seeing the underbelly of, and it's not as white and nasty as whatever. Another message here. Oh dear. Someone saying, I hope them not kill him. Really? This one says he's forgotten one thing. Don't come to New York with his crap. Another one, the individuals talking about damage to name need to shut there, and we'll jump over those 2 words. Those are the ones living off government assistance talking about name. Name is already damaged by the corruption, lies, and thieving going on. Time for change. Can do much better. Let's see what happens. When is it? Tomorrow? Let's see what happens on the next installment of these protests. In the meantime, let's go to a call or two, 876-922-4112-5, the numbers to call, the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. David Crosburn is on the line. Good afternoon, Mr. Crosburn. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Dervan, and to all your listeners. Thanks for the opportunity of saying a few words. I heard Franklin McDonald and the rest speaking about the young gentleman from Ghana. It was certainly a sterling performance he put in He's really from a village in the Demerara, a very small village by the name of Kante.
By the name of what? Sorry, the line.
I think it's a Dutch name village. By, as you know, Guyana was colonized by the Dutch.
Yes.
So his village is in the Demerara, and has a Dutch name. I think it's Kanje or something like that. C-A-N-J-E. He actually the small village has like about 350 people in his village. And then he started his love for cricket, I understand, from a young little boy. He took limes with him into his bed. That the first thing he could put his hand on in the morning was limes, you know. And I'm so happy for his accomplishment. Another thing about his village, it is the only maroon village in Ghana. So this village is the only maroon, the maroon population in Ghana are. And strange enough, it's so good to have good sterling performance because I understand he was offered a contract by a club in Pakistan, which is wonderful, you know.
And look at him now.
Hello?
Just look at him now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and boy, what was so good about his performance, Dervan, he did it actually while feeling a lot of pain.
Yes.
The meat that he got on his toe.
Yes, that Yorker. Whoever bowled that Yorker.
Yes. It was certainly a sterling performance, and it brought a lot of joy to us in the Caribbean. Yeah. And we can only build on that for more, you know.
Yes, it's encouraging.
Yeah, another matter. I'm sorry to hear that you mentioned earlier that there's a robbery at the archives in Spanish Town.
Yes.
So I'm so sorry because when I spend a lot of time there, hours and hours and hours, I spend at the archives and the treat me so wonderful, you know. It's a small area, small room, and the condition there is not so good. You have to know the value of that place. Because I remember going there and I was sitting in a room around one of the tables, and the room was full. I wanted to speak to someone. The gentleman is from, I later found out that he's from Scotland, far, far up in Scotland, the area where the royals' children attend school, St. Andrews University. So Dervan, when I was in the place, it was so full that I was scared to talk to the gentleman because you don't want to make any noise or anything and upset other persons, you know. And would you believe, Dervan, everyone leave out that place and leave the gentleman and I alone in the room. I lose my contact with him. I sent him one of my books and his book. And that book is in the library at the St. Andrews University. I was so happy for the opportunity and to place one there, you know. And but to see them robbing this place, they don't know the value of that place. It sits on a wealth of information that we can use to uplift ourselves. Because I Trinidadian sugar technologies did some enormous work there, Dervan. there a document is there at the archives from and the body of work that
Hold a moment, please. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Tune in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, doing both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM. It's your source of information regarding U.S. immigration matters, combined with Power 106 FM's pioneer of diaspora broadcasting. Call in with your U.S. immigration queries and concerns on 876-922-41125 or send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598 and get the answers you need for your U.S. immigration questions. That's Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM.
Here and everywhere, and his eyes are watching you. You're gonna fade away, yeah.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon to those listening to us at home and abroad. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. To you too, Velta Wilson. Julia B says, good afternoon, Dervan and listeners. Blessings. Good afternoon and blessings to you and yours as well. And Julia B says, there is corruption and wrongdoing in every country and every corner of society. Keep those comments coming in here on Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding the line, Mr. Crosby.
Yeah, I just conclude quickly on your pet book, the book you know that you love, Higman. He mentioned about the archives in his last book, and said an appeal for help to upgrade, and it was his wish that they really pay some attention to the condition at the archives here. But in closing, let me just mention about the call, about the coffee. The one is just from my personal experience, I'm going to speak, and my knowledge in the sugar industry. As I told you, I grew up in the Linstead. I grown up at 78 King Street, and very close to the condensary. My closest friend worked at condensary, so we know the process very well. And apparently, what is happening when in the process of the milk, they have a test that they carry out to determine the fat content of the milk. That's how the payment is paid to the farmers. So the fat content of the milk is determined by the feed they cattle eat, the cow eat, and etc., etc. And in the sugar industry, we do payment to the farmers similarly by the sucrose content. But listening to the farmer from up in St. Andrews Hills, apparently there is a problem. Where I heard one of, I think is Alvin, saying when they float the box of coffee, it shrink up to 80%. That means that is telling me, the layman, that something significant is wrong. It can shrink by 20%. No way that is out of the books completely. I don't think they should have more than 5% shrinking. In my view, that would be still too high. Therefore, if he was getting 95% shrinking, rather than getting 8,000 with the same floor price, if the shrinkage was 5%, it would translate to a payment of nearly $12,000 with the same floor price. So that's one issue I think that needs to be looked at. The second one, what would cause it to shrink by 20% as you reported? I think it has to do with the fertilizer and the temperatures that we are experiencing, etc. Because I can't remember the name of the fertilizer that they applied, but I know it wasn't the NPK. It was another fertilizer with a higher nitrogen content. So I think some close looking needs to be done there. And closing, finally, there is in the same survey book, Hickman's book, significant coffee plantation was involved in the hills of Malvern, St. Elizabeth. He shows a picture of a plantation in Malvern growing coffee, and that coffee establishment in Malvern had an hospital in the 1800. You know, and I don't think today one coffee plant is in Malvern, St. Elizabeth, while it was a significant coffee growing area in the past. I just share this, and I hope that somebody from the ministry could have a really looking on what is happening with the type of fertilizer and the shrinkage. What would be causing this shrinkage? Is it is affecting the berries or something like that, you know? That's my view on it. And thanks for the opportunity. Continue to be strong. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. All the best.
Yes. All the very best. Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. The Observer's reporting on a story, Journey to Death's Door, how a misdiagnosis nearly killed opposition Senator Lambert Brown. And members of the public are expressing themselves, having heard of this experience. One person says, in Jamaica, the healthcare you receive is dependent on who you know. Simple. Medical staff work with scarce resources and patients suffer inhumane conditions. Nobody wins. Yet such man in every picture doing PR. And another one saying, great story of redemption finally becoming forced onto someone who seemingly resisted for a long time. Imminent death truly concentrates the mind. I wish him health and strength to travel wisely this enlightened path. One love still is the message. And there's more. So just an idea of the responses to these matters. Oh, what is this now? A 91-year-old woman was allegedly raped in her community of Darliston, Westmoreland on Saturday night. What level of What depravity? What depravity? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh boy. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. And still taking your calls on 876-922-4112 Good afternoon, Maxine Charlton. We see you. Thank you very much for joining us on Messenger. Thank you. And all the very best. And also those who are messaging us on the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. Let's see. Hermin. Oh, Miss June. June in Norway. We haven't heard from her in quite a while. She says, I'm listening as always here from Norway. That's so refreshing. So refreshing to see you popping up online here, Lady June. Always good to hear from you all the way in Oslo, Norway. Welcome. And she says, I'm listening as always here from Norway. Welcome. Good to have you on board. Thank you very much. This one says, we Jamaicans are always hugging up wrongdoing too much. Love to cover up for corruption. This administration is the one damaging Jamaica's brand. Says, who is that now? Not sure who that is. We don't see a name or a moniker. Also, let's see who else. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. We're calling on all indigenous peoples in Jamaica and the Caribbean, Rastafarian, Maroon, Indian, and using a term here which we no longer use, so let's jump over that, and all other tribes. Please, we're not allowing any members of the ruling administration nor the opposition members to put their hands on the reparations money. It belongs to the poor blacks, not the greedy politicians who, when they are sick, they can fly to Miami for treatment and where their children go to college in Florida, whose people must not get a penny of this fund, says Cuban in Georgia. So let's see who else is in on the discussion. Keep the messages coming in. Keep the calls coming in. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada. Good afternoon to you. I saw a message as well. Who's this now? Ambassador Michael Paul Brown, a Maroon. I think from I think it's Akompong, but please correct me if I'm wrong, Michael Paul Brown. Good afternoon to you. Richie Nibar, hello to you too. And Mac, otherwise known as Bunty, says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. And he has given us a list of scriptures to read. Thank you very much, and all the very best to you. as we welcome more of your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. Text line same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Do keep them coming. Karen Rowe is online as well, greeting us. Good afternoon to you, Karen Rowe on YouTube. Good to see you. Thank you very much. And let's see. Let's go to the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Here is a financial literacy tip from your friends at Power 106 FM. Guard your health. If you're uninsured, don't wait to apply for health insurance. If employed, your employer may offer health insurance, including high deductible health plans that save on premiums. Look at quotes from different insurance providers to find the lowest rates. Research all your options to see if you qualify for a subsidy based on your income.
Everywhere, and his eyes are watching you. You gon' fade away, yeah, yeah, you gon' fade away, fade away, yeah, yeah. Brother, what you done?
29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32, Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all the students listening to us, all the schoolers from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And parents and guardians, do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And let's see who this is. This is a group chat, it seems. Yes, good afternoon. You're live on radio. You want to be live?
Anytime I can't answer the question anymore. You know who you're talking to, right?
It says you. Hold on. Go ahead.
You talk to Rattigan, man.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Yes, remember I interviewed you on Saturday morning.
Yes, man. Yes, I know you. I know you. Don't worry about it. I know you. It's just the name not coming to me. Mm-hmm. Hello? Yes.
No. Here's what I wanted to talk to you about, and I'm sorry I can't hear you live. I'll just be very brief.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a program called Reason with Rattigan.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Saturdays from 3 until you say when.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to invite you. I came to your studio one time. It was me and about 3 or 4 people from
I remember.
Yeah, we did a Saturday morning interview.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was told to contact you because you're the man with the plan for the diaspora. So I said, let me give you a call and see if you'd be interested in coming on, because here's what happened. We had a protest a little over a week ago, week and a half ago, down in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another one coming up in New York, DC, Toronto, and London.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about the diaspora's attempt to hold the government accountable for things like, the high crime rate, corruption, poverty, failure to provide service delivery, and broken promises made to the not only to the Jamaicans living in Jamaica, but also to Jamaicans living in the diaspora, when they said they were going to try and get us representation in the Senate, and they were going to initiate a mechanism so that we could vote from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've had members of the diaspora who have tried to engage the Jamaican government on several occasions, going all the way back to 2016, to no avail. And so we believe that it's high time that we start taking a stand on these issues, because just discussing them in our little chat rooms and so on and so forth, they're not really helpful. It's helpful in the sense that we don't get any results. We talk about them, we talk about possible solutions, but at the end of the day, the government just simply refuses to acknowledge who we are, despite the fact that they've even set up a bogus organization called the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council.
That's a strong word, bogus. Bogus is a strong word.
Yeah, it's bogus. I'll tell you why it's bogus, because if you look at the word, if you look at the title, it says Global Jamaica Diaspora, right? So it's referring to people living outside of Jamaica, essentially. And then when you go to the terms of reference, on the very first page, it says that the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council is not an arm of the government, and therefore the representatives speak for themselves and their constituencies. That's what it says on the first page. Then you go further, and it says there are 4 people who will run this organization. And the 4 people, out of the 4 people, 3 of them are Jamaican government officials. Only 1 is a diaspora.
Which website are you at now?
I beg your pardon?
Which website are you on?
I'm not on a website.
No.
The website for what? For the document or for my
No,
program?
for what you were reading a while ago or mentioning a while ago.
No, I'm not reading it. I'm telling you straight off the top of my head. It's called Terms of Reference.
Okay.
Terms of Reference, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council.
Okay.
You can Google it. And then when you look at it, go to the first page and you'll see that it says, I think it's section 1, subsection Roman numeral 5. And it says it's not an arm of the government. And then when you go further into the document, it says that 4 people will run the organization. It says 4 people who will run and support the organization. 3 of them are Jamaican government officials, right? So the diaspora only gets 1 representative on that board. And of the 3, the person who's the chair is the Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, who is the Honorable Minister Terry Long right now. He's the chair of the Diaspora Council Group. Then it goes on to say that the government of Jamaica, at the time they had, when they came up with the terms of reference, there were 28 members, I believe. And at the time, in 2020, January 2020, when they established this group, established by the Jamaican government, of the 28 people, the Jamaican government appointed 20 of the 28. Now, they said it's up to 30, and they appoint half of the membership. Then it goes on to say that the chair has the right to remove members from the council. Now, these are people who represent us, and he's saying that, and this terms of reference saying that he has the right to, we don't have the right to remove them, he does, right? In addition to which, it's our organization, and they have their conferences every 2 years, right? The conference has never been held in America, UK, or Canada, the population centers for Jamaicans living abroad.
But I've traveled, so what did I travel to? I've traveled to a few of these conferences.
Where?
Oh, you're talking about the main conference as opposed to the
Yes.
individual
No,
sector
you're
regional
talking about the regional
conferences.
conferences. I'm
Yes.
talking about the main conference, the big one.
Okay.
It's always in Jamaica, right?
Yes.
And so if it's our organization, why is it not rotated between Canada, the UK, Jamaica, and the US? Why? Why is it always in Jamaica? In addition to which, to add insult to injury, if you, as a diaspora, decided if you decided to go to one of these things, you'd have to pay the registration fee. So we're saying, and then the agenda is driven by Jamaica, right? The site is driven by Jamaica, site and the location. The timing is driven by Jamaica. And so you said to yourself, then how is it a diasporan organization when we have no control, right? They can get rid of our members whenever they feel like, for whatever reason. And then we just, no, let me ask you this now. Would you consider an organization of that sort to be yours if you were living in the diaspora and all these things happen to you with it?
Well, I don't have a position on that because I'm not experiencing what members of the diaspora experience.
All right, let me make it easier for you then. Let me make it easier for you.
Yes.
If you're in Jamaica and you join a cricket club, right? You have a cricket club. And your cricket club, the terms of reference say that a soccer club is going to come in and run your cricket club, chair your cricket club, remove members from your cricket club, charge you registration fee whenever you have meetings, and keep your meetings at the soccer club. How would you feel about that? And you're a member of the cricket club.
I think that's quite palpable. That's quite evident. Who would be happy with that?
Okay. So that's one of the. So you said the word bogus, and let me tell you about the bogus, and let me just not stop there. This organization I'm talking to you about is not registered anywhere yet. It has terms of reference where it talks about organizational structure, disciplinary matters, voting, and miscellaneous things, and it's not registered anywhere.
All right. So what do you think should happen now then? What would you want to see happen right now in light of all that you have said?
Let me give you one more thing, and then I'll tell you, what should happen. Another thing is that in America, if you are associated with a foreign principal, and it includes a foreign government or a foreign company, if you're associated with them, there's something called the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And what it means is that you have to tell the U.S. government that, look, I'm associated with this foreign principal. We have meetings on a regular basis. Here are some of the things that we discuss. Now, I know of a Jamaican living in the diaspora who her primary job is just to put out flyers from a political party in Jamaica. She went to the Department of Justice and she was told, you have to file. Now, if you don't file, and you didn't know you have to file, it's a misdemeanor, punishable up to 6 months in prison with a $25,000 fine. If you knew that you were supposed to file and you did not file, that's intentional. That's punishable up to 5 years in prison with a $250,000 fine. Now, going to your question as to what I should hope to happen or what do I want to see happen. The diaspora, any diaspora organization worth the name should be a stand-alone. You shouldn't have government intervention.
Where would the independence come from, in a manner of speaking? If it's standalone.
The independence would come from the fact that the organization is governed by people living in the diaspora, and the direction would be by the constituency, and all the other things would reflect the diaspora, not reflect Jamaica. And so that group would engage with the Jamaican government, because we don't think about it. They have representation on our so-called organization, but we don't have representation in Parliament. Who's our representative in Parliament?
There's no designated representative in Parliament as far as.
In fact, I'll do one better than that. There is no process.
Hold a moment. Hold a moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Are roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
Shall fade away. God is here and there and everywhere, and his eyes are watching you. You're gonna fade away, you're gonna fade.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story of Jamaica and Jamaicans at home and abroad here on Power 106 FM, and online with us, among others, is Wilfred Rattigan, who is in the field of, let's just say, national security, although I'm sure you wear a few more hats, right? Right, so let's pick up where you left off before the break.
So, like I'm going back to your question about what should this organization look like in terms of independence, and I was explaining that it should be comprised of only diasporan members, and run by diasporan members for diasporan members, and that we should have a very close relationship with the Jamaican government, because of course we're all Jamaicans, but that organization is designated for people living outside of Jamaica, and so we should be engaged concerning things going on in Jamaica and things affecting Jamaicans in Jamaica and the diaspora as well. But you cannot have a situation where your organization your organization was established, and it's directed and it's run, it's governed by the Jamaican government. You cannot.
Your position,
and I mean,
is
that's an untenable position, and I submit to you that, going back to the soccer club and the cricket club example I gave you, nobody would put up with that. And not only that, the Jamaican government has not seen it fit, even though I've made the clarion call for them to do so, provide legal counsel to the members living in the United States to say, listen, you have to file with the Department of Justice saying that you're a foreign agent, or you're an agent of a foreign power. They haven't done that. And so these people are at risk. And I'll tell you this. A complaint was filed with the FARA unit of DOJ recently. And it was only last week that the person who filed the complaint was called in to sit with the investigators, and a declaration was made. So I don't know what's going to happen to those people who live in America and they're members of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council and the Youth Council, and they haven't filed. I don't know what's going to happen to them. But they should be forewarned that the U.S. government has been notified about their affiliation and their activities with this bogus organization.
Well, again, as I said, your position is quite clear, and it's the rest is now left up to those who are implicated or otherwise involved in these matters.
Yes, indeed. Let me ask you a question, Dervan.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Jamaicans living abroad should have the right to vote in Jamaican elections, local and general, from overseas?
No, I would have to defer to the Jamaicans in the diaspora to have their voices be heard, to put that stamp on it.
No, I can tell you, you don't have to defer. I can tell you that based on the things that we've heard, and I think it's empirical evidence. Even just last week, Thursday, on the ambassador's platform, Let's Connect, a gentleman called in and he said he was willing to donate $1,000 to a lawsuit compelling the Jamaican government to allow Jamaican citizens living abroad to vote in local and general elections. So that's not even that's an issue that's agreed to by people of every persuasion, political, social, and otherwise. They're all in agreement that we should be able to vote from where we live overseas. We shouldn't have to register and go to Jamaica, register and vote in Jamaica and come back to where we live. That's an impediment to voting.
Yeah, well, there are other countries that have done it and are still doing it, and there is it would be up to the state of Jamaica to engage the general population in making a determinant of that situation as to whether you continue as you are or you look to a different system, a new system, which is different in approach.
But Dervan, between me, you, and your vast audience, did you know that this promise was made in 2016? I was there when this promise was made. That we're going to set up a mechanism so that you can vote from overseas.
Yes.
It was made, like I said, it was made in an auditorium in Queens, New York, full of Jamaicans. 2016.
Yes, I believe I was there. If it's the same venue we're talking about, I think I was there actually.
Yeah, it happened in September 2016.
Mm-hmm.
The Hunger Week.
Mm-hmm.
When the
UN General Assembly.
Mm-hmm. I beg your pardon?
UN General Assembly.
Yes, it was during that week when they showed up in Queens, New York. Mm-hmm. And they made that promise. And that was 2016. And here we are, 2024. And you know what the ambassador said? I don't know if you listened to her Let's Connect town hall last week, Thursday, where she had on the junior minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Honorable Terrelong on. But she said that people should, and by the way, she was there in 2016. She was in that auditorium in 2016. Yes, I saw her there. I actually spoke with her there. So she's aware of the promise. And she's also aware of the broken promise. Now, she's saying that she knows people who, she was saying, yeah, you can go home and vote. You know, if you have a Jamaican passport, you can just go home and vote. But Dervan.
But that's not the what is sought. What the
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's not what is sought. But not only that, Dervan. It's one thing to break a promise. It's another thing to have people break the law. And that's what she's asking people to do, because under the law, under the rules and regulation of the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, in order to vote in a Jamaican election, there are two things. One is you must be You can be a Commonwealth citizen, and you establish citizenship after living in Jamaica, residing in Jamaica for a year. Then you're eligible to register and vote. Or you're a Jamaican citizen over the age of 18, and there's a conjunction there, and residing in Jamaica. So now you tell me, if you live in America and you jump on a plane and go vote and come back to America, that's a violation. Because the rule says you're supposed to be living in Jamaica. And it says, how do you establish residency? You're supposed to be living there 6 months. And the government is supposed to also go and verify that the address you put down when you're registering, the address that you put down, that you actually reside there. And this is the information being imparted to the diaspora by the ambassador and the Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Dervan. They're telling people to break the law. And if you don't believe me, because I don't know if you listened to it last week, Thursday, if you don't believe me, I think it's online. I can get it for you and send it to you so you can listen for yourself. Don't take my word for it. So you can listen to the advice that they're giving people living here. They're saying, get a passport and then you can just go to Jamaica, go vote. What they're telling people is go down and get a bogus address because you don't live in Jamaica and register, and then you vote. And then you go back to where you live.
So what about those who straddle, let's say, two properties, one in the diaspora and the other in Jamaica?
If you straddle two properties, and you're not retired, you're going to have a problem, because if you say that you live in Jamaica, remember now you have to live in Jamaica 6 months. Uncle Sam going to say, okay, own up your taxes. Did you work while you were in Jamaica? And if you did, you need to pay taxes on that.
Well, it looks like there's this year's conference is, all other things being equal, it appears as if this year's conference is going to be quite a seminal one.
It's going to be seminal in the sense that I'm asking people to boycott it. I'm asking people not to show up, because this conference is not about you. It was never about you. So I'm asking for the global diaspora members, the youth council as well. I'm asking them to resign from this bogus organization. And I'm asking people not to attend, to boycott the conference in Montego Bay in June. Because how can you support something that you know it's wrong? And when I say no, it's wrong, I'm saying don't take Rattigan's word for it. Just go look at the terms of reference. Just read it. It's about 12 pages or less. Just read that for yourself and arrive at your own conclusion. So it's not a matter of interpretation, it's a matter of fact. So I'm going to tell people on my program, and everywhere I go, I'm telling them, do not support this organization, do not attend. Because it is not your organization. It is there for one purpose and one purpose only, and it is there to control the diaspora. And by the way, speaking of control, let me give you some stats. In the UK, there are approximately 800,000 Jamaicans living there. First, second, third generations, whatever. They had the election last year for the.
Here's the thing: we have to continue the discussion because it's news time. The program ends at 5. It's 4:59.
Okay, sir.
But thank you very much for the information you have shared with us this afternoon, and let's keep in touch. We'll keep the dialogue
because
open.
I'm inviting you. You didn't give me a response, but you're busy right now. But we have a show on Saturday, every Saturday, and I'd love for you to come on.
There's no problem with that.
All right, so I'll hold you to that.
Sure. All right, we have to go. You too. Thanks, everybody. That's it for today's edition of Both Sides of the Story. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care. Hi again, everyone. We're going to leave it there for now.
To Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
Feel free to be in touch.
Powerful, and credible. Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Good afternoon, I am Dervan Gordon. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Monday, January 29, 2024. Still no word from Finance Ministry as academic and administrative staff at UTEC vow to continue pressing for a response. JLP summons local government election candidates to meeting with party leader Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Opposition leader Mark Golding raps government for mismanagement of NHT. Security guard charged for assaulting teen boy at bus stop in St. Andrew. In business news, Jamaicans are paid an average 1.2% more for utilities and related products and services for December 2022 to December 2023.